Coming out. Many people heard of coming outs, but especially certain generations who emailed me became reasonably unsure in the recent past and said, coming out is something I hear of, but normally I only connect it to either being gay or lesbian. And now I hear about all these different genders. And I really appreciate how many people emailed me and said, I want to learn. However, I'm really unsure of how to ask because they don't want to do anything wrong. So instead of talking about it, we talk with people who came out. So hello and welcome, Shawn James.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much for taking the time. And I'm getting straight into the topic. You came out as genderqueer recently. Could you tell people, because many of our listeners, this is a business podcast, so many people are not too knowledgeable about the gender aspects of the business, which of course they should be, but they are willing to learn. What does it mean to be genderqueer?
Yeah, so I recently came out as genderqueer on my fifth year of coming out as gay. During the year of 2020, I had some time, like everyone else did, to seriously reflect on myself and how I could improve as a person. And I used this time to figure out my sexuality deeper because even though I had came out 4 years prior, I was still struggling with myself. I was looking in the mirror. I wasn't happy with what I was seeing, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint the problem. So it took some really serious time to figure out what could be the issue. Was it mental health? Was it gender issues? And I took a year. It came out in about February when I came to my best friend and I told her, hey, I think I know the issue and I'm genderqueer. And she said, the same question as you, what is it to be genderqueer? And I said, I cannot live anymore living by the society norms set forth for me to be a male or to be gay. There's so much more beyond that. So to be genderqueer, it varies from person to person. And that's what took so long. I could not find the exact definition. Every time you look at a genderqueer definition, it's different. It varies from website to website or from person to person. I define genderqueer as not living with a set norm of how a male should act or a female should act. Some days I wake up and I'm going to put on this sheer shirt and I'm going to feel great. I'm going to feel confident. And I don't have to live by acting too masculine or hyper masculine or hyper feminine. I can be who I want to be. And I don't have to wake up and say, I'm he, I'm her, I'm they.
Mm. And one person asked me up front via email when I prepared this interview, does genderqueer mean non-binary? Because that's what some people came across because it is more present in the media due to celebrities coming out as non-binary. Would you say that this is similar?
So genderqueer covers a variety of pronouns. And for example, I'm they, he. And genderqueer is a bit different from being non-binary. Non-binary people usually only identify as they, their, them. But whereas if you're genderqueer, you can identify as he, they, she, them. There's more, it's more persona as well to be genderqueer than it is to say I'm non-binary. Non-binary is when you strictly do not identify as any gender, no set gender norms at all. So like I mentioned before, some days I do identify as he, but every day to my mental self, I am they. I don't have a gender.
One question which also came via email was that people asked me, and of course you could give the best answer to that, is it okay at work to ask someone for their pronouns, their gender identity, or is it too private and I should wait until someone tells me? What is, in your opinion, the right way to handle that in a work environment?
There's so many ways to go about it. And just being a person and having an open mind to your peers and to people you work with and people you're friends with, it's okay to ask because I can assure you one thing, they want to be respected. Like this we all deserve to be respected and loved. And having an open conversation could lead to so much more. I say that it is okay to ask people's pronouns. In fact, in more liberal cities, I've been to a couple cities, Miami and Seattle and downtown New York, where I'm
Mm.
seeing people more and more nowadays wearing pins that say their pronouns. And that way, it's not even a discussion. You just know. And that's what's great about coming out in this generation and being gender queer newly in 2021 is there's so much undiscovered. We are as a community setting the new world and the new future of pronouns and sexuality. And it's just an amazing time to be a part of the queer community right now.
We now see more and more companies doing that. They put the pronouns into the signature of their work emails. Do you think that this is a good idea to raise awareness about it?
Yes, and there is nothing greater than this time where I am seeing basically 8 out of every 10 emails, I'm seeing pronouns in their emails, and it's just so exciting. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing, and there is nothing better than you can do as a company than to allow your employees to put their pronouns in their signature because for them, they may be in the same boat as I am, or on the other side, the recipient of that email, they might be struggling with the same issues that I struggled with for years. And to know that you have someone that you could connect to, possibly seek out help. Again, prior to your other question, you asked, how do you go about asking a coworker or something? If these companies continue to allow and be accepting to the changing world, then guess what? This is just a great step forward. And I totally encourage companies. And, gender sometimes can be political, but it shouldn't.
Mm. So, do you think, and that is now, of course, a community question, do you think that the way we represent the LGBTQIA plus community at the moment, because normally when you look at Pride, normally it's called Gay Pride, it is still very much about rainbow flag, then there is gay, lesbian, and everything else. I mean, trans is becoming more and more present in the movement. Still, it looks like everything else is falling a bit behind for unknown or well-known reasons. Do you think that the LGBTQIA plus community also has to evolve, that Pride is becoming more inclusive?
For sure. Every year I go to a pride, or at least I try to, and I'm seeing different color flags and I'm seeing different people, meeting different people. And I am a person who will ask, hey, what's your sexuality? What's your name? And what's your pronouns? And I have heard so many new things that I've had to go home at the end of Pride and research. And it's okay for change to occur. And I believe becoming more inclusive and adapting these prides to the year that they're present in and allowing people to express themselves in whatever way is just a beautiful thing. And I totally encourage it.
Excellent. So last but not least, when now people ask, how can I raise awareness in a company? Let's say you are working in a company, but you're not on senior leadership level. Then, of course, some companies might be, let's say, less informed about it, which is never an excuse. How can someone who is not on senior leadership level raise awareness to the senior leadership level that they say we need to do something about that to be more inclusive in our environment here?
Yeah. So if you work for a company and you are comfortable, it starts off with a conversation. And I had to do it in the company that I work for. It started off as a conversation. You can do it as a solo person, and there's resources there to back you up. Or what's better is working as a community, working as a
Mm-hmm.
group, and finding people who are in the same predicament, same position as you. Because I guarantee you, if you're working for a huge corporate, there are so many people who are out or hidden who want to experience the same exact respect and companies that do not recognize or do not publicly out and are open with their LGBT policies or protections. If you work for a company and you want to start a conversation, do it. Now is the time because you will have some of the biggest support. When I started the conversation in my company, There was nobody else. I did it by myself, and I had the backup that I needed from resources online and people I did not know who were willing to back me up. So now is the time to make this conversation, because in 10 years, I want to work for a company that doesn't make it known on an application that I have to put male or female. I want to come in confident every day into work, comfortable. And I know so many other people are similar to you and I, and we just want happiness, we want peace, and we all want respect.
Excellent. I think these are perfect final words. So, of course, thank you very much for all the people who emailed me about the matter. I really appreciate that this podcast is going in a direction where many business people say, hey, I am not as knowledgeable about this as I should be, but I'm really keen to learn. So thank you very much for contacting me about it. So I'm very happy that we could produce this episode here. And of course, thank you very much also to Shawn James, who took the time today here for us. So at the end of this podcast, there's only one thing for me left to say. Shawn, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.